Hello there, it's midnight and you're tuning into Nightline with me, Azaria. Tagaya. The top stories. MACC closely monitoring all airports to curb potential counter-setting activities. Government approves amendments to penal code targeting cyberbullying. We begin the bulletin with this story. 5 people, including a family of 3, were killed in a crash involving a lorry and a car in Guamusang, Kelantan on Friday. The collision caused the car, which was carrying the family, to plunge down a steep slope at Jalan Guamusang Lodging. All 5 victims died on the spot in the crash, which occurred at 11:30 a.m. They were identified as 53-year-old lorry driver Magiswara Gopal, the driver of the car 48-year-old Muhammad Junaizi Juso, his wife 39-year-old Shazwani Ismail, the couple's son 20-year-old Muhammad Fakrul Danish, and Shazwani's sister 35-year-old Farhana Ismail. Guamusang Fire Station Chief Nur Azizi Cik Noh said that 18 firemen were dispatched to the scene after receiving an emergency call at 11:57 a.m. Upon arrival, the rescuers found that the victims were pinned in their vehicles and they had to use special tools to extricate the bodies. The victims' bodies were then sent to Guamusang Hospital for post-mortem. District Police Chief Superintendent Sik Chun Fu said investigations are ongoing to determine the cause of the crash. Now, the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, is closely monitoring all airports in an effort to curb potential counter-setting activities. Its Chief Commissioner, Tan Sri Azambaki, said the anti-graft body is focusing its efforts on KLIA as it remains the country's main entry point for foreigners.
Yang kita lihat yang paling besarnya di KLIA. Sebab itu kita tumpukan pada KLIA. Jadi KLIA ini merupakan pusat kemasukan pihak-pihak luar. Jadi sini kita tumpukan. Mungkin ada di tempat-tempat lain. Johor pun ada juga dia punya counter entry-nya. Tapi besarnya di KLIA. Di negeri-negeri berkenaan contoh yang punya entry mana di mana perlu melalui pemeriksaan immigration, pemantauan juga dibuat.
He had been asked if the agency was looking at other airports in its counter-setting investigation. The MACC previously uncovered a syndicate involved in bringing foreign nationals into the country bypassing proper authority checks. Last month, the MACC detained 60 people, including a senior immigration officer stationed at KLIA, believed to be the mastermind of the counter-setting syndicate. In another development, the MACC has proposed that state governments establish SOPs for mining rare earth elements to prevent misconduct and limit the potential for corruption. Azam said there is a need for guidelines to be in place because without them, anyone can mine for rare earth elements without permission, amounting to theft.
Saya ambil contoh lagi satu, contoh tentang bauxite dulu. Dalam bauxite dulu pun sebenarnya tentang bauxite itself tak ada dia punya SOP-nya. Kemudian baru ditunjukkan tentang SOP yang khas, terutama sekali dalam bila nak mengeluarkan ML berkenaan.
In October last year, the MACC probed a case of alleged corruption and abuse of power involving 13 million ringgit from illegal mining of rare earth elements in Kedah. Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim has welcomed the open apology made by Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak concerning the One Malaysia Development Berhad 1MDB scandal. The Prime Minister gave his succinct response on the matter when questioned by the press after Friday prayers in Putrajaya.
Okey, terima kasih.
Mohon maaf kepada rakyat mungkin komen sikit Datuk Sri.
Ya, sorry ya. Terima baik. Terima baik. Salam sikit.
Anwar's brief remark came after Najib issued a public apology regarding his role in the financial scandal. The former Prime Minister, however, maintained his innocence as he claimed he was deceived by fugitive businessman Low Tek Joe and his associates. His statement was read out by his eldest son, Datuk Muhammad Nizar, to reporters at the lobby of the Kuala Lumpur Court Complex on Thursday. Najib is currently serving a reduced 6-year sentence following a pardon after he was convicted of misappropriating 42 million ringgit in funds belonging to former 1MDB subsidiary SRC International. His apology came 6 days before the Kuala Lumpur High Court decides whether he is to enter his defence in the 1MDB corruption case that started 5 years ago. The government has granted, in principle, approval for amendments to the Penal Code and the Criminal Procedure Code concerning cyberbullying on social media. Communications Minister Fahmi Fadil said that the decision was made during the cabinet meeting chaired by Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim on Friday. At a post-cabinet meeting media conference in Putrajaya, Fahmi, who's also the unity government spokesperson, stated that the amendments are a crucial step to close the gaps or lacuna within the law, allowing for stronger actions against cyberbullies. He also revealed that currently government studies indicate there is no clear definition of bullying, including cyberbullying as a crime.
Mesyuarat Jemaah Menteri pada hari ini telah meluluskan secara dasar siri pindaan kepada kanun keseksaan dan juga kanun tata cara jenayah berkaitan isu buli cyber, dan satu rang undang-undang pindaan akan dibawa ke Parlimen dalam mesyuarat kali ini. Selain daripada itu, satu rang undang-undang yang dinamakan Rang Undang-Undang Keselamatan dalam Talian ataupun Online Safety Act.
Fahmi added that the online safety bill aims to ensure a safer internet environment, especially for children and families. He also said that the government takes online safety seriously, particularly for children and families, adding that the Code of Conduct for social media is expected to be ready by next month. The comprehensive bill, which also covers potential cyber crimes, including those involving children, is expected to be tabled for second reading in early December. In another development, Fahmi stressed that the formulation of the house arrest bill is not linked to any individual, including the former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Abdul Razak, who is currently serving prison time.
Ia tidak ada kaitan dengan mana-mana individu, tapi bila kita lihat ekosistem itu secara keseluruhan, kita perlu beranjak sesuai dengan zaman. Banyak negara mengamalkan konsep restorative justice dan kita juga ke arah itu.
During the tabling of the 2025 budget last Friday, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim announced that the government would draft a new bill to allow house arrest as an alternative sentence for certain offences. On Saturday, Home Minister Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail reportedly said that the bill will be tabled next year, adding that the Cabinet has approved the policy for its implementation. The Health Ministry is maintaining its stance relating to the ban on tobacco product displays set to be enforced in April next year. Health Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad said the government takes note of the challenges that may be involved for retailers, adding that the 6-month grace period provided by the government is sufficient to allow them to adjust to the new guidelines.
Sebab itu kita berikan waktu dan segang waktu yang agak selesa 6 bulan sebelum kita melaksanakan sepenuhnya. Jadi dalam pada itu kita buka ruang untuk kita adakan libat urus, ya, dan kita adakan diskusi untuk saling memahami perspektif satu sama lain.
Speaking to the media after officiating the Occupational Safety and Health Day celebration at the Ministry, Zulkifli said the 6-month period will also be used to hold further discussions and engagement with traders. Earlier this month, retail groups had called for a delay in implementing the ban on displaying tobacco products under the Control of Smoking Products for Public Health Act 2024 or Act 852. It asserted that many retailers remained unclear about the guidelines and estimated that each store would incur additional costs to modify the layout of their display cabinets to comply with the Act, which came into force on October 1st. Police confirmed that a parade at Dataran Menara Condong, Teluk Intan, which displayed foreign flags, was held without a permit. Perak Police Chief Datuk Azizi Mat Aris said that the event organisers have been summoned to have their statements recorded, as well as to provide the details of all foreign participants to assist in the investigation. According to Azizi, the religious-themed parade featuring decorated vehicles took place from 8 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. on Thursday and drew approximately 400 spectators. He added that police received a complaint from a local man at 12:39 a.m. on Friday about a group of participants believed to be foreigners who were seen in a viral video waving China flags during the parade. The incident is being investigated under the Peaceful Assembly Act for holding a parade without a police permit and the National Symbols Act for displaying the national symbols of foreign countries in public. Earlier, the Malaysian Guangdong Cultural Association apologized for the incident. Its chairman, Sun Bun Hua, clarified that the act of waving the flag of another country was not part of the itinerary planned by organizers. In Negeri Sembilan, a man was remanded for 3 days until Saturday for allegedly driving under the influence of alcohol, causing a road accident in Port Dickson. The motorist is believed to have failed to stop at a red light and struck a Year 5 pupil who was crossing the road. It was reported that the incident occurred in front of Sekolah Kebangsaan Port Dickson at about 7:10 a.m. on Thursday, while the 28-year-old male driver was travelling from Port Dickson town towards Teluk Kemang. The child suffered a fractured right big toe, along with injuries to the legs and arms after being hit by the suspect's vehicle. Port Dickson Police Chief Superintendent Mazlan Udin stated that the driver was detained after his alcohol level was found to exceed the permitted limit. The case is being investigated under the Road Transport Act. In Selangor, 5 men, including a person who is blind in one eye, pleaded not guilty in the Klang Sessions Court on Friday to a charge of committing armed gang robbery at a businessman's house early this month. All of the accused, aged between 23 and 38, claimed trial after the charge was read out to them before Judge Sharifah Hasindi Said Omar. The 5 men, M. Lingeshwaran, P.S. Tamil Kumaran, S. Nagan, G. Siva and R. Tamilarasan were jointly charged with committing the offence at a property belonging to a 54-year-old man in Pandamaran, Port Klang on October 3rd, fleeing with prayer idols worth 74,500 ringgit. The charge, framed under the Penal Code, provides imprisonment for up to 20 years and whipping upon conviction. The judge granted them bail of 10,000 ringgit with 1 shorty each and ordered them to report themselves at a nearby police station once a month. The court also fixed January 8th for next case mention. It was previously reported that 10 people, including a woman, were detained in connection with the armed robbery. Police said closed-circuit TV camera footage of the incident showed a group of masked robbers wielding machetes, storming into the 3-story bungalow and carting away 600,000 ringgit in cash, valuable deities and jewellery. Separately, at the Kuala Pilah Magistrates Court, a Rohingya man was charged with stabbing his girlfriend, an Indonesian citizen, leaving her seriously injured. The accused, 43-year-old Fauzi Alam Muhammad Alam, nodded in understanding as the charge was read to him. He is accused of causing serious injury to the 40-year-old victim using a knife, an act that could have led to death. The incident occurred at a house in Taman ACBE Bahau on September 26th. The magistrate denied bail and scheduled the case for remention on November 12th. In Sabah, 2 foreigners faced the death penalty after being charged in the Tawau Magistrates Court on Friday with drug trafficking. They were charged separately before Magistrate Dayang Aidaku Amira Aminuddin and Magistrate Don Stiwin Malanjum. According to the charges, 40-year-old Amriyadi is accused of trafficking more than 1.5 kilograms of methamphetamine at the passenger inspection area of the Tawau ferry terminal on October 11th, while 39-year-old Rudy Jalil allegedly trafficked nearly 270 grams of methamphetamine at the departure hall of the same ferry terminal on the same date. Both men were alleged to have committed the offence by concealing the drugs in their underwear, undergarments and shoes. No plea was recorded as the case falls under the jurisdiction of the High Court. The offence under the Dangerous Drugs Act provides the death penalty or life imprisonment with a minimum of 12 strokes of the cane upon conviction. Both magistrates fixed November 12th and December 2nd for case mention. Stark holds 1-shot lead into 3rd round action from the Malaysian LPGA after this breather.
Sebuah program istimewa membantu penonton menyelesaikan pelbagai masalah yang dihadapi setiap minggu dengan bijak. Wow, janji berbaloi! Menampilkan pelbagai produk berkualiti keperluan terkini, pakej combo dan tawaran harga paling berbaloi dan eksklusif buat penonton. Jangan ketinggalan, saksikan siaran langsung di TV9. Wow, janji berbaloi! Wow!
Struggling with low energy or stress levels? Stay tuned as we reveal the secrets to better health and unlocking long-term vitality.
The mind comes first, the intention, and then everything else will fall through.
It's not short, it's very long, and it's not easy as well.
Yeah.
But if you have your why, you'll find your way.
Watch Women Talk every Saturday 5 p.m. only at TV3. Stream now on Tonton.
Pada mulanya, saya hidup senang saja. Bila mak saya sakit atau ayah sakit, hidup saya dah macam lebih susah. Saya pun tak tahu ujian apa yang Allah yang kasih kita.
Ya Allah, makcik hanya harap pada gantung pada dia je. Makan minum makcik ke, dia lah jaga. Makcik terlantar, dia lah yang angkat makcik pergi bilik air ke, mandi ke.
Apa yang kelakar sangat tu, Kak? Ni tengah tengok drama baru dekat tonton ni. Macam seronok je cerita ni. Kalau nak tengok kat TV, boleh tak?
Boleh je, Mak. Cari aplikasi tonton. Dah jumpa tu, tinggal buat turun je. Dah buka tonton, tekan butang sign in, nanti dia keluar macam ni. Dia ada bagi link. Tapi nak senang, invest je kod QR ni. Masukkan je ID dengan password. Sekarang ni tinggal cari snack dan main drama.
We're back with sports. Golf, the 2024 Malaysian LPGA. Sweden's Maja Stark fired a second consecutive 66 in the second round to secure a one-shot lead at the halfway stage of the rain-affected championship at Kuala Lumpur Golf and Country Club on Friday. Starting the day tied for fifth, Stark surged forward with 3 early birdies on the first, third and fifth holes, though she dropped a shot on the 8th. However, she quickly recovered with 4 consecutive birdies, starting from the 10th hole, reaching 12 under overall to claim the top spot. Stark leads by 1 shot over American Marina Alex, who is tied with South Korean duo An Na Rin and Ryu Hye Ran, as well as Taiwan's Su Wei Ling. Meanwhile, Ashley Lau snatched the national best golfer of the day from Mirabel Ting as she staged an impressive comeback, carding a 4 under 68 to move closer to the top half of the leaderboard. Ashley recorded 6 birdies, including 4 in her final 7 holes, to climb into a tie for 39th place at the 3 under 141 at the halfway mark. This marked a significant improvement from her tied 66th position after the first round. Turning to football, the Super League now. 3 matches took place on Friday night. Sabah FC secured another win after beating Penang FC 4-0. Kelantan Darul Naim FC were held to a 1-1 draw with Sri Pahang FC, and Kedah Darul Aman FC shared the same fate following a 1-1 draw with PDRM FC. At the Penang City Stadium, the Rhinos wasted no time, taking the lead just 2 minutes into the game when Sadil Ramdhani fired in a sublime curler from outside the box. The visitors did not wait long to double their lead as Gabriel Perez stunned the whole stadium with a spectacular long-range free kick 4 minutes later. Stuart Wilkin then made it 3-0 for Sabah in the 35th minute, adding further misery for the home side before the break. Dominic Tan put the game to bed 5 minutes after the restart, sealing the convincing 4-0 victory for the Rhinos. The win kept Sabah at 3rd place with 20 points, 11 behind leaders JDT. Turning to hockey, the 2024 Sultan of Johor Cup. The under-21 national team hit a new low in the tournament, suffering a 3-9 defeat to Australia in their last round-robin match on Friday. Australia showed no mercy to the Young Tigers, slotting 4 goals in the first quarter through Liam Henderson, Dylan Downey, Ian Grobler and Jesse Absalom. The national team pulled 2 back with goals from Muhammad Danish Daniel and Azimuddin Shakir Kamaruddin in the second quarter. However, Australia proved too strong for Malaysia, extending their lead to 6-2 in the third quarter. Haris Osman tried to bring Malaysia back into the contest in the last quarter, but goals by Henderson, Patrick Andrew and Lucas Tunen secured the dominant 9-3 win for Australia. Despite this, the Young Tigers still have a chance to salvage their pride in the 5th-6th placing match on Saturday. The US presidential race gets more interesting. News from the foreign front when we come back.
Kemeriahan tradisi Pesta Cahaya menyemai penyatuan budaya bangsa.
Nenang dalam yellow colour bag tadi wangi gelap. Benda ni sangat rare. Happy tau bila kita tahu tentang budaya, kaum, makanan orang lain.
Kita punya brand ni memang terkenal dengan corak. Masih versatile dan ramai sangat orang suka, terutamanya budak-budak muda lah.
Zaman dulu dia tak tahu nama. Terima kasih.
Menopause dianggap sebagai krisis kehidupan wanita.
Kerisauan saya lebih kepada perubahan hormon dalam badan. Macam-macam lah terganggu dalam badan ni. Woman akan go through menopause, berat badan akan naik.
Banyak perubahan berlaku semasa usia melebihi 40 tahun.
Emosi tadi juga akan terganggu dan mulalah sakit-sakit dan sebagainya. Wear and tear bermula.
Wanita pertengahan usia kami bawakan dalam Hello Doktor Ahad 5.30 petang di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Tompin merupakan lubuk kepada ikan layaran ni.
Ada je angler yang datang. Cari safely.
License besar lah untuk angler.
Okay, triple strike. Tangkap ikan ni dia jadi macam satu trofi lah. Kebanggaan lah.
Best seller kita adalah ladu, candy, barfi dengan jelebi lah. So, untuk Deepawali ni, kita special lah jual 100% homemade. Resipi mak saya ramai minat lah.
Alah, dah habis? Tak sempat nak tengok.
Drama TV3 Mak? Tengok je lah, tonton.
Telefon nak buat?
Telefon Mak. Mula-mula Mak buka tonton, lepas tu tekan sign up here untuk buat akaun baru. Isi nombor telefon, email dengan password. Masukkan nombor TAC dan siap.
Ya, senang je. Jadi tengok dasar?
Boleh lah. Jadi dah drama Mak tu.
We're back with news from the foreign front. A Malaysian university student who killed her newborn child was convicted of murder on Thursday by a court in United Kingdom. According to UK's Crown Prosecution Service, 22-year-old Teo Jiazin was convicted at Warwick Crown Court on one count of murder and would be sentenced on Friday. Teo claimed that she had been hearing voices telling her to kill the baby. This defense, however, was rejected by the jury. In an attempt to keep her pregnancy hidden, Teo gave birth in March and placed her newborn in a cereal box, which she subsequently sealed inside a plastic bag and stored in a suitcase. Police located the baby 2 days later, by which time the baby was already deceased. US presidential election day is fast approaching and the candidates are virtually neck and neck. As of Friday morning, polling suggested Kamala Harris was leading Donald Trump by just 2% nationally, with 48% of people in favor of the Democratic candidate compared to 46% in favor of the Republican nominee. That gap has stayed fairly consistent since mid-September. It was a similar story in the nation's key swing states. In Wisconsin and Michigan, Harris was leading by less than 1%. Harris earlier appealed to middle-class America at a rally in Georgia, drawing a crowd of about 20,000 on Thursday. Her rally was joined by iconic musician Bruce Springsteen, former President Barack Obama, and actor and filmmaker Tyler Perry. Trump, on the other hand, held rallies in Arizona and Nevada. Trump said he had watched Harris's town hall and described her performance as quote-unquote pathetic, only the latest in a series of personal barbs that the candidates have traded in recent days. The former president also said he plans to fire Jack Smith, the special counsel who brought 2 federal cases against him if he wins the election. According to tracking data from the election lab at the University of Florida, more than 30 million voters had already cast their ballots as of Thursday evening. The Kurdistan Workers' Party, PKK, on Friday claimed responsibility over an attack on a state-run Turkish defense firm in Ankara that killed 5 people earlier this week. In a statement, it said members of its Immortals Battalion carried out Wednesday's attack at the headquarters of Turkish Aerospace Industries, TAI. The operation targeted TAI because of its role in developing armed drones used against Kurdish forces in Syria and Iraq, describing the facility as a military target. Previously, the Turkish government said it had proof that the PKK, listed as a terror group by Turkey, the United States and the European Union, was behind the attack. In the meantime, Turkish Defense Ministry said on Friday that Turkey carried out airstrikes against Kurdish militants in northern Iraq overnight, hitting dozens of targets for the second night in a row. Has killed at least 3 journalists and wounded several others in Hasbaya on Friday. The attack was carried out on a guest house in a compound being used by more than a dozen journalists from at least 7 media organizations. Al Mayadin TV, a Beirut-based pan-Arab network, reported that 2 of its journalists were killed in the airstrike, while Al Manar TV, affiliated with Lebanon's Hezbollah, stated that one of its camera operators also lost his life. The Zionist military has not commented on the strike. The killings come 24 hours after an Israeli strike hit an office used by Al Mayadin in Beirut's southern suburbs, killing 1 person and injuring 5 others. Over in Gaza, Zionist military strikes in the southern city of Khan Yunis killed at least 38 people since Thursday night as Zionist forces launched a nighttime raid on a hospital in the north. Gaza's health ministry said many of the casualties from the strikes on houses in southeast Khan Yunis were women and children. In the north of the enclave, more than 150 patients and staff were trapped at the Kamal Adwan hospital in Beit Lahia after the Zionist military besieged the medical facility. The regime raided the hospital and ordered patients to move down to the main courtyard as they conducted mass arrests. The hospital's director, Hussam Abu Safia, meanwhile said that the intensive care unit suffered severe damage from the tank attack, warning that the hospital could become a mass grave, as 1 patient was dying every hour as a result of the assault. Over in India, 1 person was killed as Cyclone Dana made landfall on the east coast, uprooting trees and power lines, with officials warning of more fierce weather on Friday. Dana made landfall on the northern coast of Odisha, India, as tropical storm with winds of 110 kilometers per hour, but weakened into a cyclonic storm by afternoon. The death was reported in West Bengal in the South 24 Parganas district's Patar Pratima. Officials in Odisha had closed schools, suspended flights and evacuated over 500,000 people in anticipation of the storm. However, residents returned home by late Friday morning, with flights and train services resuming in Bhubaneswar and Kolkata. The death toll from tropical storm Trami, which hit the Philippines on Wednesday, has climbed to at least 66 people on Friday. This after 5 more deaths occurred in floodwaters and landslides in the Bicol region, making it 28 deaths in the area, while 9 more deaths occurred in Batangas, bringing a total of 34 casualties in the region. The storm has since moved into the South China Sea, heading towards Vietnam. However, the Philippines' weather agency warned that Trami could potentially loop back due to nearby weather patterns, threatening further impacts on coastal areas in the coming days. Now, as Nightline draws to a close this time around, let's take a look as archaeologists in the ancient Roman city of Pompeii uncovers a richly decorated but uncommonly small house with finely preserved frescoes of mythological scenes. With that, I'm Azaria Tagaya. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.